This guy has the ability to move with super speed, breaking the laws of physics and changing the state of things.
Looked around, no, passes away.
In space, how he took advantage of this, we will see from the review of the film, X-Men Days of Future Past. In the near future, the Guardians program, created with the support of the US government, continues to capture and exterminate mutants. Initially, it was designed only for monsters, but later the program failed, because of which it began to determine the sleeping mutational genes in ordinary people. This has brought the world to its knees. The planet lies in ruins, and the surviving people and the remnants of mutants become prisoners of the guards, held in concentration camps. The only ones who continue to resist are the X-Men, Moscow. The Guardians find the surviving mutants and attack their bunker. Iceman, Warpatch, Colossus, and the others try to fight back against the guards, but fail. Guardians easily adapt to the abilities of mutants and take their lives one by one. Realizing that the situation is getting out of hand, Kitty uses her powers, thanks to which she manages to disappear at the last moment. Professor Xavier, Logan, Storm, and Magneto arrive in China to meet with the hidden mutants. As it turned out, Kitty can move her mind through time, thanks to which she learns in advance about the raids of the guards. Sending her knowledge to Warpatch, she and the other mutants manage to escape. That is why they managed to escape from Moscow, and the battle in which most of the mutants died did not take place. Realizing that there is nowhere else to retreat and run, the X-Men develop a new plan. They perfectly remember history and know that the Mystique sent the creator of the guards to the next world, Bolivar Trask. If you go back to 1973 and try to stop her, you can change the course of history and prevent Mystique from falling into the hands of scientists who have developed the main weapon against mutants. Charles Xavier is ready to go back in time and meet with himself to tell about the events that followed. Kitty warns that consciousness time travel is dangerous and could tear the professor's brain apart. Logan realizes that only he has good regeneration and agrees to take over the transfer to the past. Prepared for their journey to 1973, the X-Men decide to defend the fortress and wait to meet the guards. Meanwhile, Xavier and Magneto explain to Logan what he must do. Logan's task is to find the young Professor and Magneto, tell them about the future, and try to stop Mystique. It is impossible that based on her DNA, a component was created that allows the guards to adapt to the enemy. The only way to win a war is to prevent it by changing the past. Also, before sending Logan to the past, Kitty asks him to remain calm and control his mind. Otherwise, he will disappear into time. Caught in 1973, Logan wakes up in bed with his boss's daughter. The mafiosi decide to punish him for this misdeed and ignore Logan's words, warning them of the possible consequences. Here he does not have adamant but ordinary claws, but this does not prevent Wolverine from coping with 3 criminals and taking their car keys from them. Meanwhile, Bolivar Trask meets with the military from the Pentagon and presents his program. He conducts experiments on mutants and is convinced that this enemy is capable of exterminating humanity. The Pentagon is not ready to invest large amounts in a dubious project and refuses Trask to develop guards. The Mystique, disguised as a colonel, infiltrates a military base and meets with several mutants. Stryker, Trask's assistant, also arrived here, who should redirect them to his laboratory. Mystique protects the mutants and, after dealing with Stryker, allows them to escape. Logan makes his way to an abandoned mansion that was once a school for quirky teenagers. Encountering Hank, who is transforming into the Beast, on the doorstep of the house, Logan tries to walk past him to talk to Xavier. The Beast uses its power to thwart a stranger, but the young professor asks him to stop. Logan proves that they are good friends in the future and explains why he came to the past. Xavier refuses and leaves because he has lost too much and is not ready for new battles. As it turns out, Hank has developed a serum that allows him to control his mutations. She also helps Charles Xavier walk, but overwhelms him beyond her ability. Remembering how he met Mystique, Charles changes his mind and agrees to help Logan. Before the Mystique can be stopped, they must free Magneto from a prison located in a deep dungeon containing nothing metal. Magneto was arrested for assassinating U.S. President John F. Kennedy and forgot to mention it when he sent Logan back in time. At the same time, Mystique, pretending to be Trask, infiltrates his office and finds documents confirming the abuse of mutants. Realizing that they cannot get there without help, Logan turns to Peter Maximoff, a young mutant with super speed, for help. Having understood the plan, the guy happily agrees to Logan, the Beast, and the Professor to infiltrate the Pentagon. After infiltrating a heavily guarded building, the group splits up. The Beast jams the signal and resets the security cameras, while Peter infiltrates the elevator going down to the floor with Magneto. Face to face with a security guard, the super-fast guy uses scotch tape. After infiltrating Magneto's cell, Peter frees him. The Beast activates the fire alarm, causing all the doors to be unlocked. Thanks to his speed, Peter quickly rushes past the police, who did not have time to fire a shot, and finds himself with Magneto in the elevator. They are met at the top by Logan and Charles Xavier, but they find themselves trapped and surrounded by several police officers. As soon as the guards of the law shoot, Peter understands that his star time has come. Using super speed, the guy rushes around the room, neutralizing opponents and changing the trajectory of bullets. Once free, Magneto, Charles, and Logan say goodbye to Peter and head to Paris. Along the way, an altercation occurs between the Professor and Magneto, resulting in them nearly crashing. Meanwhile, Mystique meets a Vietnamese soldier in a nightclub who has arrived in France to sign a peace treaty to end hostilities in Vietnam. Secluded with a man in a room, Mystique strangles him and learns about the military's routine the next day. In the morning, Trask arrives at the meeting and tells the representatives of the warring countries about the new enemy. He presents the Guardians Project and shows a device that allows you to find mutants. Turning it on, the scientist notices that there is a person with superpowers in the room and calculates the Mystique. She attempts to take Trask's life, but a fight results in Stryker neutralizing her. At the same second, the X-Men appear in the room, neutralizing Stryker. Seeing the man on the floor sends Logan into painful memories. It was Stryker who erased his memory and covered the skeleton with adamantium. As a result of this, Logan goes out of control in both timelines and accidentally injures Kitty. Magneto realizes that Mystique must not fall into the hands of scientists, as this will lead to the extermination of mutants. He decides to get rid of Mystique and shoots her, controlling the bullet and wounding the girl in the leg. People got shocked that they see an unknown blue creature and film what is happening on camera. Magneto continues to try to take Mystique's life so she doesn't cause trouble. The Beast is furious and tries to stop the mutant who controls the metal. As a result of the fight, Magneto captures the Beast, but Mystique manages to escape. Stryker also manages to escape, but before he leaves, he notices Logan's claws and takes an increased interest in them. The President of the United States gets shocked by what is happening in France and is trying to find out who these people are and how to counteract them. Trask appears in the Oval Office and offers to fund the Guardian Project. In addition, he is ready to conduct a demonstration in Washington, as he has 8 prototypes made from polymers. Magneto, having stolen the blueprints for the robots beforehand, realizes that one cannot sit idly by. A little later, Mystique tracks him down and asks to leave her alone, but the man is not ready to do this, as she is a threat to their entire species. Upon returning home, Charles is in terrible pain as the serum wears off. Logan understands that only the Professor's abilities can help find Mystique and asks not to give an injection. Agreeing, Charles returns to the wheelchair. Meanwhile, Trask, who has received a prototype, investigates it. The blood of the Mystique remained at the site of the battle in France, and this allows the scientists to make the first conclusions. Based on the girl's blood, you can create unique guards that can adapt to the enemy, but more biomaterials are needed. Sacrificing the ability to walk, the Professor travels to Cerebro to find Mystique. The device breaks, so Logan offers to try telepathy on it. With the help of Wolverine, Charles contacts himself from the future and realizes he must give the mutants new hope. Meanwhile, Magneto tracks down a train carrying the Guardians to Washington. Using his powers, he dismantles the railroad and upgrades the guards, equipping them with metal for complete control and subjugation. In the present tense, the mutants understand that they have sat too long in one place, and the guards can find them any minute. Magneto and Iceman offer to interrupt the session, as they will soon be identified. Also, Kitty is severely injured and unable to maintain Logan's consciousness in the past. The professor orders to continue, as he looked into a new version of the past and understands that its consequences can be even more deplorable. Meanwhile, young Charles uses his powers to find Mystique and talk to her. He tries to persuade the girl to stop and return home, but she believes that her mission is correct and must be completed. Upon learning that Mystique is heading to Washington, the Beast revisits the news reports and gets to know that the President of the United States, together with the Secretary of Defense and Trask, will make a loud statement regarding mutants and the fight against them. Realizing that Mystique will be there, Logan, Charles, and Beast travel to Washington to thwart her. Meanwhile, Magneto infiltrates a secure building and eliminates the guards in order to retrieve his helmet and suit, which amplify his superpowers. Warpatch notices the guard ships approaching and realizes it's too late to run. Other mutants join him to try to delay the enemy and prevent him from interfering with the implementation of their plan. In a parallel timeline, Beast, Charles, and Logan infiltrate the Guardians' presentation. Wolverine's claws are not metal yet, so he easily passes the detector. Using telepathy, Charles tries to find Mystique and stops her at the last moment. At the same moment, Magneto rips the football stadium out of the ground and lifts it into the air. The Guardians' presentation spirals out of control as Magneto's redesigned robots begin attacking the audience. The President of the United States, Trask, and other important persons of the state go to an underground bunker and are unaware that Mystique is also here under the guise of one of the guards. In the future, mutants encounter dozens of ships transporting Guardians. Old Magneto, Storm, and the others use all their powers to stop the enemy and prevent him from disrupting their plans. Meanwhile, young and drugged by the correctness of his ideas, Magneto moves the football stadium and surrounds the White House with it. As a result of the fall of the structure, Charles is under the rubble. The situation continues to deteriorate in the future. The Guardians reach their destination and got in combat with the mutants. Adapting to each opponent, they take the life of Storm and wound Magneto. Realizing that time is running out, he blocks the entrance to the hideout, and one of the mutants allows the man to go back inside to guard Charles, Logan, and Kitty. In the past, Magneto continues to act with purpose, and upon spotting the Beast and Logan, sends one of the Guardians to follow the original program and take their lives. While the Beast delays the robot, Logan tries to attack Magneto, but Magneto stops him with a rebar. Piercing Logan's body with metal, he throws him into the river. Trask's device starts to work, and he realizes that there is a mutant in the bunker. The Mystic was calculated again, not allowing her to carry out her plan. A minute later, the situation spirals out of control as Magneto uses his power to retrieve the bunker from the dungeon. Pointing all the cameras at himself, he is going to eliminate the president and his subordinates in order to show the power of the mutants and that they should not be fought with. The only one who dares to go out to Magneto is the President of the United States. Meanwhile, one of the guards continues to try to get rid of the Beast. Realizing that he lost, the Beast injects himself with the serum and temporarily deprives himself of his power, becoming an ordinary person. The robot turns its attention to Magneto and the President, because in fact, it is Mystique. Magneto is distracted by the guard and destroys him, and Mystique uses the moment to shoot him with a metal-free pistol. Only after wounding Magneto, Mystique is going to complete his mission and get rid of Trask. Charles can't get out of the rubble, but uses telepathy to make one last contact with the girl he treats like his sister. The professor persuades her to lower her weapon and show kindness so as not to aggravate the situation and not start a war that could bring all life to the brink of extinction. At the same second in the future, the Guardians continue to exterminate the X-Men. Iceman, with the last of his strength, delays them, but also loses his life. The Guardians infiltrate the building where Magneto, Charles, Kitty, and Logan are. The moment the Mystic drops the weapon, they disappear, and the future changes. Realizing they won't be the same again, Charles allows Magneto and Mystique to leave. Logan wakes up in a school for mutants and realizes that all the X-Men, including Jean, are alive. He understands that he coped with his task, and since 1973, history has gone in a different direction. Meeting with the professor, he asks him to tell him about what happened after that day at the White House. Charles realizes that this is not the Logan he knew until today, and thanks him for saving him. Also in 1973, Mystique, who took on the guise of Stryker, pulled Logan out of the water and prevented him from sleeping forever. After the credits, a crowd is shown watching a young mutant building pyramids. This is En Sabah Nur, the apocalypse, near which there are 4 horsemen: war, pestilence, famine, and death. We hope you enjoyed watching. We would be grateful if you put like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. See you soon.